What's going on, guys? Welcome to the BALListic Report. Corey Spivey here, as always, with Taylor Moore. Uh, man, recapping the Super Bowl. Not exactly what we thought. See where this goes, man. A lot of things running through my mind. Obviously, not the game that we thought it would be, but fresh off this Super Bowl presentations going on right now. But what are your initial thoughts of this game?
Man, just right off the bat, man, it seemed like Patrick Mahomes was running for his life. It's like the commentator said, he was running for his life the whole time, man. And really, just to see him out there like that, you can't really have a good game when you're trying to focus on trying not to get sacked or trying not to get tackled. So that definitely threw off the offense. But at the same time, I know Todd Bowles, that defensive coordinator for the Buccaneers, man. He was sending blitzes, he was sending cornerbacks, line, and he was sending everything, man, because they didn't want to give Patrick Mahomes time to make those spectacular throws. And it's still crazy, just
Yeah.
the fact that even though he was running for his life, he made a lot of crazy throws that I didn't think was even possible. To make while you fall into the ground, you still
Mm-hmm.
throwing the ball. So yeah, man. So I definitely have to give him credit for that. But I know they were saying that in off season, he planned on having like toe surgery. I think 'cause he had like turf toe that he's still recovering from. So just looking at him out there,
Yeah.
you can tell that he wasn't fully prepared to actually give it his all out there. But I give him an A for effort, man. But it wasn't enough. And then with the Buccaneers, I said Leonard Fournette was gonna need to have a big game in order for them to win. And he showed up. He had 80, I think 89 yards rushing, touchdown, and also he had 46 yards pass catching. So he was definitely all over the place. And also Ronald Jones, he did pretty good when he came in too as well. But I think the flags for Kansas City definitely hurt them a lot, especially when it seemed like they were getting Tom Brady off the field on third down. It was always some type of
Yeah.
flag that threw him off. I know Chris Jones, he had an unnecessary roughness after they had just, like after they just called a fourth down. Like, man, like you was this close just stopping the drive. So that extended, which led to Gronk touchdown. So it was tough, man. Man, because once those flags start coming, pretty much competing against yourself and not against your opponent. So, what you think about that?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Watching the game at the end of the half, I knew the game was over. I did because you talk about those penalties that were happening. Tyrann Mathieu had two unnecessary penalties, and it was very obvious early. They, like you said, there was this mental battle. If they were losing with themselves, they didn't get off to a good start, and it got under their skin really quick, and it seemed like they really just fell apart. Because, like you said, and go back to the keys that we had for needing to, who needed to have an impact game. And one of the things that we both pointed out was this offensive line with the injuries and the weaknesses that they had needed to be able to step up. And they didn't have that next man up mentality. Todd Bowles and that defense took full advantage of it. They were sending everybody in that backfield, and no one could hold anything. Some of the best pass rushers in the league, and Patrick Mahomes was running early and often. You could tell he was injured early. He wasn't very mobile, and he was just kind of struggling to get back to the line of scrimmage in a lot of plays. So he was just kind of trying to manage things, and still, like you said, you think about a lot of these plays, he's falling down, he's getting knocked over, he's under immense pressure, and he's still getting these passes off. And a lot of those passes were catchable. The receivers just weren't ready for him. You had one that hit Tyreek right in his hands and it went off. One that hit him in the face and he just couldn't hold on to it. So there was a couple plays that, if they could have avoided those really avoidable penalties and caught those crazy passes, they could have been right there in those games. But like I said, you could tell by their demeanor, the penalties that they were getting. This game was over at the half, and I really, really, really think they messed up by not taking that ball at the beginning of the game. When they won the toss and they deferred, I was looking like, with this offense, you got to go and get points quick. You're going up against Tom Brady. He's the GOAT. You got to go and get those points when you can. And then in the second half, they got so close so many times, but they just couldn't finish the deal. And, coming out of the half, they were going to have to play catch up. And Tom Brady is an excellent game manager. All he was going to try to do was not turn the ball over and not give them anything cheap. And that's what he did. And they just basically ran this game out. So ultimately, this game just didn't live up to the hype. But, man, that was
cool. Man, but see, I would have to disagree, man, because I feel like if I was the Chiefs, then I would have deferred for the second half, man, because they even said like in the first quarter that Tom Brady has never scored a first quarter touchdown in all his Super Bowl matches. And I was thinking like, okay, so it should work in their favor, towards well, man. But then something else I was thinking about too, just the fact that when the Chiefs defense is on and if it's rolling early in the game, that's the best time to have the Chiefs defense on the game. I mean, on the field during that time. To as well, man. How I was saying, if the Chiefs were to continually, start scoring, then that means that the Chiefs defense will have to be on the field as much as possible. So that's why I thought that it was smart for them to have the Chiefs defense on first, so they can be able to get that 3 and out, so they can be able to have Kansas City back on the field to continue. So I thought it was smart to defer for the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it was a good method. I think, the reason I just say that it kind of surprised me was because this offense they're built to be able to make a comeback, but they do very, very well in front running. Yeah. And so I just wanted them to be aggressive and go out and get the points. And, I do see what you're saying. But ultimately, I think that let's go here, because here's where I wanted to get your opinion. Who do you think really won this game? Do you think that the Chiefs gave this game up to the Bucs, or do you feel like the Bucs went out and took this from them and just owned it?
Man, I would say that the Bucs defense won this matchup, man, because the way that they were so aggressive in trying to get Patrick Mahomes, they already knew that the offensive line had a couple key pieces missing, to as well, and then also the fact that Patrick Mahomes was already dealing with that foot injury too, man. So they knew they could put pressure on him, and they can make it hard for him to make those passes. But I would say this: as soon as the Chiefs started getting frustrated, that's when I knew that hey, it's pretty hard for them to come back from the game. When you're down by 15, 20 points, and also when you're frustrated too, you're trying to go to the refs after each play too as well. But I would say starting off, the Bucs defense did their job. Todd Bowles, man, he created and he also devised the right scheme for this game plan to know that, hey, if we jump on Patrick Mahomes early and make him frustrated, then they can definitely change their whole plan, their whole game plan. So I would start off by saying the Bucs defense, but after those flags start rolling in with the Chiefs defensive players like Tyrann Mathieu, Chris Jones, so it kind of built up, man. So the defense like, hey, what else can I do? Like, what can I do on the field so I won't get called? So, but to answer your question, the Bucs defense won. Because I feel like, with that being said, man, because really, with all those flags, it kept giving the Bucs offense a chance to stay on the field, man, because the Chiefs defense made some nice stops. But when those flags started rolling, it negated the whole play. So they had to stay on the field another couple minutes, so which led to a couple touchdowns and a field goal. So what you think?
Yeah. I'm right there with you. It's one of those things. That's why I wanted to get your opinion, because I was kind of torn. But ultimately, I feel like the defensive game plan and execution for the Buccaneers had more of an impact than the self-sabotage of the penalties that the Chiefs had. Like you said, man, that game plan that Todd Bowles schemed up, it was perfect. They exploited the guys up front. They sent everybody that they could send right at Patrick Mahomes because that line was depleted, and they did an excellent job of that. And then on the back end, they had two high safeties and an extra help right in the middle every single play. And that took, it kept the top on the defense so Tyreek Hill couldn't get there. And they were okay to live with Travis Kelce getting plays because he still went well over 100 yards with his, in the passing game. So they were okay with that as long as he wasn't getting points. But I just feel like the Chiefs, at some point, I just kept saying, when are they going to counter? Because they kept lining Kelce up with Hill on the same side. And it just made it too easy for them to put their 4 best guys right there and just completely get rid of the other side of the field. So I kept wondering, man, when are they going to get more creative and maybe split these guys on the other side and make the defense work? When are they going to start taking these cheaper plays? I mean, I just feel like they just didn't have that type of counter to try to exploit that defense, because I think they could have had them, especially in the second half. But ultimately, I think that Buccaneers defense, they played out of their minds, man. I mean, they really, really did. And so I was really impressed with the game plan. I was really impressed with the execution. But I just ultimately feel like, that was probably one of Andy Reid's worst games. But I don't feel that Patrick Mahomes played bad. I think he played his heart out. He did everything he could to try to keep them in this game. But the Bucs defense was just too good, man. They were just too good, too good. So, the Chiefs, they celebrated, they showboated all week. How did you feel, towards the end of the game when Devin White and, Levante David and especially Antoine Winfield with the peace sign? How did you feel when you began to saw them celebrate? Were you a little upset about it, or did you feel like, man, okay, this is kind of some payback for what you all did all week and all year?
Man, honestly, when you start mentioning about the celebration, I started going back to that Baltimore Ravens and the Tennessee Titans game. As soon as Baltimore Ravens got their revenge back on the Titans in the playoffs, what did they do? They celebrated, and they did the thing. So I see it as it's a part of the game, and at the same time, if you're gonna celebrate, man, you better be ready to put up or shut up. So I came down to the point that, hey, when the lights were on, the Bucs showed up, the Chiefs didn't. But I mean, to a certain extent, it can be, um, still considered a sportsmanlike conduct. Just after the game or whatnot. You can still call it that. But hey, these people are really more excited about getting their own ring
Yeah.
versus actually beating the Chiefs. I think too, and because there are a lot of
Yeah.
fans on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers football team who haven't experienced going to the playoffs and much less going to the Super Bowl and winning it, man. I know you were talking about Mike Evans last week, man. Like
Right.
walk off the field, go to the locker room. It's like, hold on, man. Look, we're supposed to celebrate on the podium. We're ready to leave the field. Man, so it's a lot of people
Right.
who are new to this too, So I think more than anything, it's more of excitement versus, just trying to, use that and just, hey, we won. It's time for y'all to go. It's our time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I found myself kind of rooting for Kansas City, of course, near the end. I just wanted to see the young guys get it. So it did kind of leave a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth, seeing them just bulldoze them like that. But then I started thinking about, Tyreek Hill talking about why not get 7, and they're showboating throughout the week, and I just felt like it was warranted, man. It was coming. They brought it upon themselves, and it was just one of those things where, hey, we're in the moment, we're excited. It's our first time here. We're gonna showboat, and that's what we're gonna do. And at the end of the day, nobody's gonna look back and say, yeah, they won that, but they had a lot of uncostly, unsportsmanlike conducts. Nobody's gonna remember that at the end of the game because everybody's celebrating. Even that one fan, where did he come from when he ran out on the field? But I mean, as we bring this thing to a close, man, I want to end this on a note of, as we kind of already prematurely look into next year, which one of these teams do you see getting back to this game? Who do you think has a better chance? Is it Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, or do you think Tom Brady and the Buccaneers have a better chance of getting back if you just had to pick one?
Oh, I would definitely say the Chiefs, just the fact that they have more players locked in as far as their contract for the future. We know Patrick Mahomes with his massive contract, he's here to stay. So if he
Yeah.
stays healthy, they already had the QB position locked in. When it comes to the running back position, they have Clyde locked in, still on his rookie deal, and they also have some other defensive pieces that's already locked in, such as Tyron Matthew. So he's already locked in too. But I would say like if anything, just the fact that they went to back-to-back Super Bowls, man. So that basically means that that's less of a okay. So that's less time for having a off season. To remember because they said that the next NFL calendar year
Yeah.
will start around March, man. So if you think about it, they have about a month before the next NFL calendar year starts. So I would say
Yeah.
if they can take care of their bodies in the off season, if they recover, uh, and try to shore up some of that offensive line, man, they can easily repeat, man, because they have too many weapons on the offensive side of the ball, man. They can catch that ball and take it to touchdowns like this. Travis Kelsey, McCole Harmon's pretty good. Um, like Tyree Hill, you
Yeah.
also count him in too on the games. But I would say on the Bucs side, Tom Brady just had one more year left because he signed a 2-year deal. So I definitely see him coming back.
Yeah.
So at the same time, you think about players like Leonard Fournette, he signed a 1-year deal. So for
Yeah.
someone like him, if I was in this position, I'll be looking to get paid. And I'm thinking that hey, Tampa Bay, they may not have enough salary cap to be able to pay me the money that I want to be. So he may be looking elsewhere, because if you think about it, he could start on just about any other team when he's healthy, and they also have Ronald Jones, which is, pretty good running back. But hey, Leonard Fournette, he could easily be gone, uh, just as such as Sue as well from the defensive line, so he can be gone too and move on to another team. So that's already an offensive piece and a defensive piece that could potentially be gone. And also someone else, Antonio Brown. He had a really good second half of the season when he was able to come
Yeah.
onto the team, you know, especially he had some bright spots during the playoffs. So he may be looking to get paid. So that's 3 people. I'm just naming off the top of my head that can be gone from the roster. So but if I had
Mhm.
to choose, the Chiefs will have a much better chance to. Plus, they're a little bit younger as well. But the Buccaneers, man, if they can bring those pieces back, they have a shot. But I know the NFC, I know the
Yeah.
NFC is getting better each year. So I know that they're going to be ready to
Yeah.
own Tom Brady.
Yeah, man. I definitely agree with you. I think both teams have the best shot of as presently constructed to get back. Of course, there are a lot, like you said, a lot of question marks on that, Tampa Bay side of the ball. But ultimately, with the youth that the Chiefs have, the contract set up, the coaching staff, and everything is seeming to have fallen into their place, and I think it will continue to fall in their place going forward. They've got the right structure, the right system there, got the best, most talented quarterback right now. Even with Tom Brady winning the game, winning the MVP, I still think Patrick Mahomes is the most, talented person at that position. So they're going to be a force to be reckoned with going forward. As we talked about, in our last episode, that a loss like this is going to fuel the Chiefs to come back better, come back stronger, to be more focused and more disciplined. So yeah, I definitely give them the best chance out of the two teams to make it back to the Super Bowl. But I wouldn't be surprised if we have, a Warriors Cavs type situation where these two teams meet back up again. But I guess we'll just have to see. Uh, you know, Congratulations to the Tampa Bay State to even with the World Series. But congratulations to the state. Congratulations to the Buccaneers, to Tom Brady, the entire organization there, to all their fans, to all of our fans and subscribers that are watching. Continue to watch and stick with us for more videos in the future. As always, follow us on Instagram at BALListic Report Sports. I'm Corey Spivey. This is Taylor Moore. Until next time, we'll see you guys.